Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to Coffee with Eddie. This is Eddie Campos with Remax Preferred Associates and my special guest today, Mr. David Walkup, financial advisor with the Financial Design Group here in Northwest Ohio. Recently, David and I got into the weeds a little bit when it came into talking about first-time home buyers and how they plan for the fees and costs that are associated with this. And David and I, we talked about how we're not just pressing a button on Amazon to order something and have it show up today or tomorrow. There's a process for this. There's fees associated with this. And it's important for buyers to understand what they're getting into, go into this with their eyes wide open. So I don't want to, dampen anybody's ambition to buy a home, but it's important for them to just understand what the true costs are of doing this. So, for example, buying a home mostly is done with folks that will probably only encounter this 1 to 3 times in their entire lifetime. So it's a major purchase, probably the biggest purchase of their life that's done infrequently. And not only are there fees associated with this, but in the real estate world, it's not unlikely that within 5, 10, 15 years of, buying one home and going into another, the industry changes and you could have processes that change. You may have other fees that, get involved. So today I wanted to just shed some light on that subject with David. So David, you and I got into the weeds with this. Let's talk about what's associated, some of the fees that are associated with buying a home. What should they anticipate?
All that's right. This is a great topic for prospective home buyers out there. So thanks for addressing it and thanks for having me on. I agree with you. It is in everyone's best interest to learn about the real costs of buying a home, whether it's your first or subsequent home. So I'd say before you start searching for the home, I think it's essential to understand how much money you'll really need for the total purchase. So let's get into a couple of the additional expenses beyond that, initial purchase price. But I guess first, the good stuff about buying a home, right? Homeownership has great advantages over renting, lower monthly payments, deductible mortgage interest, and the accumulation of equity. And I think you have a graphic to show about the accumulation of equity.
Yes.
But beyond that, there is a price to pay for the benefits, including the expenses we can go over here. So the biggest spend is your initial equity. There are 2 costs that constitute that beginning equity in your home, the ownership that you're going to have directly in your home. The first is the earnest money. That is the kind of deposit that ensures your commitment to the deal. That can be $500 to $2,000. As you well know, as you've seen many times, you can get a refund for that earnest money, but only if the deal falls through no fault of the buyers. So if you're a buyer and the deal falls through not your fault, you can get that earnest money back. Let's see. The other initial spend is your down payment for that equity. Down payments can be 3.5% to 20% of the total price of the house. And of course, the down payment is part of the closing cost, the money that you bring to a closing on a house. And then, of course, we'll get into this in a little bit, but the mortgage covers the difference between that purchase price and the initial equity that you're putting forward.